So today I have an opportunity to tell you a story, at least a small part of mine. Public speaking is not my strongest quality, but I believe that God has provided me today with the words to convey a message that we all need to hear. Last week, at my family's Christmas tree lot, God spoke to me. It was a regular day. We had families of all kinds walking the rows, searching for the tree that would become their centerpiece in their home for the holiday. We also had several folks, like normal, browsing the decorations as they looked at wreaths and a multitude of other types of decorations and shapes that would fit their eccentric styles for this season. And like always, we had a few more somber people trying to pick out decorations for the graves of their loved ones. It can be hard sometimes providing the highest level of customer service for someone who is shopping for those they have lost. When I'm at the lot, as we call it, I often work the register and make sure that everybody there has a good experience. And those with kids, they get a special treat. They get to choose between a candy cane or some chocolate coal. As I was sitting there, I was watching this woman ponder the choice that she was about to make and her purchase. It was clear to me that her energy was very different. She stood tall and proud, but in a pretend kind of way. As she made her choice, she tore off the cashier's ticket, turned, and walked to the window where I was sitting. I could see the pain in her face, and I could see the sadness. She handed me the ticket, and I asked her if she had found everything okay. She looked up at me, and she said she had, but it was hard to choose. It was at this moment I felt the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I got goosebumps, followed by a slight shiver. And for a moment, I was different. For a moment, I had changed. I asked her, I said, if you don't mind, who was this grave blanket for that you were purchasing? She explained it was for her teenage granddaughter. We just looked at each other and I had no words. What came out of my mouth next probably surprised me more than it did her. But I asked her if she didn't mind if I prayed with her. I didn't know her story or how this loss happened, but in that moment, I became an instrument. I was a tool for God to use. For the first time in a long time in my life, I was listening. I reached across the window with one hand, and I held hers, and we prayed. We prayed for strength and the willingness to keep moving forward. We prayed that we might be able to understand what God's plan for us would be. It was short, it was brief and simple, but more powerful than I could have ever thought. As she walked away, I could tell the energy was different. She was still standing tall and proud, but now it felt as though she was standing with her own will and someone wasn't holding her up. She was in that moment herself. I sat back in my chair and I took a moment to process what had just happened. It turned out that in that moment, I became more of something that I had lost. I became more of me. Now let's take a step back just for some context. I was raised as a pastor's son in the Church of the Brethren. I grew up in southern Pennsylvania at a summer camp focused on the spiritual growth for young adults. I was taught how to lead adventure groups and be supportive to others. My parents led by example and taught me how to be in service to others. They taught me how to pray and worship, how to sing and rejoice. They showed me that living a servant's life was living like Jesus. They taught me how to be the church, even though I did not know that was the lesson. I was baptized at 15 and began a long journey of discovery of my own. Through hardships of being young and lacking in experience, I began to rebel and fall away from my faith and the beliefs that had been gifted to me. My ears had stopped working, and I could not hear what God had been whispering to me for many years. As time passed, I fell further away from the path that I should have been on. Or did I? That brings us to the present. 3 years ago, I reconnected with a girl that I had fallen in love with 15 years ago. My heart began to soften. A little more than a year ago, I married that girl and started a family, and my heart became softer yet. When my son was born, my family said that I also was born, or reborn, into a person that they had not seen in a very long time. It was then that I started to listen. I could once again hear the words being whispered to my soul. We may not see our purpose until it's past. We may not understand what God's plan is for us until the painting is fully complete. But today I can tell you that we are all instruments. I can assure you that if we stop talking, we will be able to hear. And if we work together, we can all be the church. Thank you.